So, what if I told you that there's a coffee out there so expensive and so protected that people have literally been going to prison over faking it? I'm talking about Kona coffee, the ultra premium stuff from a tiny slice of Hawaii that can go for $20 to $50 a pound. It truly has a legendary reputation, but behind the scenes, it's been one of the most scammed coffees in America for decades. Fake Kona has been showing up on shelves at Walmart, Costco, Starbucks, you name it. So today, we're deep diving into the wild world of Kona coffee and all the shady scams that have tried to cash in on its name. So go grab your favorite cup, and today, sit back as we look back on Kona coffee, the luxury bean that's been fighting counterfeit for years. First, what actually makes Kona coffee so special? It only grows in a very specific area on the big island of Hawaii, on the north and south Kona districts, on the slopes of Hualalai and Mauna Loa. The combination of sunny mornings, afternoon clouds and rain, mild nights, and the super rich volcanic soil creates this perfect little microclimate. Only coffee grown right there can legally be called Kona. It's one of the most expensive coffees in the world because the farms are mostly small family operations, with the average size being under 5 acres. And the yield is tiny compared to big commercial growers. Samuel Ruggles brought the first coffee plants there in 1828, and by the late 1800s it had become a recognized premium brand. Today there are around 800 Kona farms. They produce only about 2 to 3 million pounds of green coffee a year. That scarcity, plus the unique flavor, is why it commands those crazy prices. Real Kona is a flex. But because it's so expensive and famous, that's exactly why people started to scam with it. The biggest and most infamous scam goes all the way back to the 1990s and a guy named Michael Norton of Kona Kai Farms in Berkeley, California. From around 1993 to 96, Norton was allegedly importing million pounds of cheap Central American coffee like Panamanian and Costa Rican beans that he got for like $1.80 to $2.50 a pound, and then rebagging it as pure Kona coffee, which sold for $6 to $8 a pound wholesale. Prosecutors said he made over 13 to 20 million in profit. He was selling it to huge names like Starbucks, Peet's, Hill Brothers, Peerless, and a bunch of other roasters and retailers. And if you're wondering how he did it, he literally just had a group of people empty out the Kona coffee bags and then have a separate group of people put the cheap coffee in it. Yeah, pretty sophisticated stuff going on here. Federal agents eventually caught on to them thanks to informants, wiretaps, and even a secret video of the rebagging operation. In 1996, Norton was indicted on wire fraud and money laundering charges. He eventually pled guilty and got 30 months in prison, plus restitution and back taxes. It was a massive scandal at the time, shaking the entire gourmet coffee world and made Hawaiian Kona farmers furious. This wasn't just some small-time hustle, this was straight up counterfeiting one of the most prestigious coffees on the planet. But the Kona Kai thing was just the beginning. Fast forward to 2019, and the Kona farmers finally said enough. A group of actual Kona growers filed a huge class action lawsuit against more than 20 big retailers and suppliers, including Walmart, Costco, Amazon, Safeway, Kroger, and several other coffee companies, accusing them of selling coffee labeled as Kona or Kona blend that contained little to no actual Kona beans. The farmers used scientific testing, like looking at isotope ratios and trace metals, to prove that a lot of the so-called Kona coffee on shelves was mostly just cheap imported beans. They argued it was false advertising and hurting real Kona farmers who work hard to grow the authentic stuff. Over the next few years, the case resulted in settlement after settlement, and by 2024, the total payouts had topped 41 million, with some reports putting the grand total even higher with everything wrapped up. Companies like ABC Stores and Mulbody paid millions, and many agreed to stricter labeling rules going forward. It was a huge win for the small family farms and sent a clear message. You can't just slap Kona on anything and call it a day. And even after all that, the fight still isn't over. There are still ongoing issues with Kona blends that only need 10% real Kona to use the name on the label. Some companies push the limits with vaguer terms like Kona style or Kona roast. There have been smaller cases and complaints over the years about mislabeled beans showing up in stores and online, and as of the last few years, coffee leaf rust and other threats have also been hitting Kona farms, making the real stuff even more scarce and more expensive. In 2026, the authenticity battle is still very much alive. Farmers continue pushing for stronger labeling laws, and consumers are getting savvier about buying directly from Hawaiian growers or trusted sources. The message is the same as it's always been. If the price seems too good to be true for Kona, it probably is. Looking back, Kona coffee is the perfect example of how something rare and special can become a target for scammers. One tiny region in Hawaii grows this legendary bean that people are willing to pay a premium for, and sure enough, people keep trying to fake it for a quick buck. From the big Kona Kai farms bust in the 90s to the massive 2019 class action that forced big retailers to pay up and clean up their labels, it's been a decades-long fight for the farmers who actually grow the real thing. In a world full of knockoffs and blends, it's kind of nice to see small family farms standing up and winning some of these battles. Kona isn't just coffee, it's a whole culture and a point of pride for Hawaii. But what do you think? Have you ever bought Kona coffee and wondered if it was the real deal? Do you go out of your way to buy the authentic stuff? Do you even like coffee at all? Let me know in the comments below. I do like to read every single one and interact with you guys. If this got you wanting more deep dives into wild food scams or controversies, make sure to like and subscribe so I can take the hint. And remember, anything is special, make sure to look at it. Peace out.
Baby, I can't lie, you look amazing. Like the models in my Playboy pages. Flashback to my immature stages. I didn't glow up, I didn't grow up. I ain't have a lot of